Hello, Toronto. I have no mic. Hi, guys. Can you hear me now? Woo! All right. Welcome to day 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. That is the city you're in. I am your host, Jared Kale. Are you guys excited? Yeah? Were some of you here yesterday checking out the action? Yeah? All right, well, today is day 2. Yesterday we had the open bracket. Didn't quite finish. We finished it off this morning. So if you're curious, Huck did lose this morning. Sadly, will not be advancing. But Snoot did win and is advancing. So it's not all Koreans coming into the rest of the tournament. In fact, our 16 players, I think we have 13 Koreans, 1 Danish dude, and 2 Canadians. Not so bad. So that's like 14% of the pool left. So today we start the open bracket. There's the 16 players. I think at the end of today, at least 2 will have moved on, minimum. That's what we'll get done. And we're doing like a GSL-style knockout, where you have to win 2, you move on, you lose 2, and you're out. It's pretty vicious, and it's pretty cruel. We start with Group A, of course. It is the first letter in the alphabet. And that group has 3 Terrans and 1 Protoss. Do you guys like Protoss? Do you like Terran? Wow. Haters gonna hate, man. What are you gonna do? Well, the first match today is referred to by some as possibly the finals, because it's between 2 incredibly good players. Zest, arguably the best Protoss in the world, and TaeJa, who's the most winning StarCraft 2 player in history with 11 singles titles. Singles because all the matches are played by 1 person. So before we get into that, though, before I bring the players out, we're going to go over to Paul and company on the expert couch, and they'll give you a bit more details.
Thanks very much, Jarrett. Yes, welcome over to the expert corner. Not me as the expert, you'll be pleased to know, but we do have 2 experts with me. QXC and Todd join me on the couch this morning. How you doing?
Good.
Great,
Good,
man.
Good.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Promise?
Yes.
Looking forward to today?
What do you mean promise? Why would
Well, because you were a little bit hesitant there, and I was like, well...
I was waiting for Todd.
Right, you're
Same.
being polite.
Yes.
Why start now?
He's...
And so it begins on the couch. We're going to have a lot of fun on the couch today. We'll just show you what's coming up today with the schedule. We have the first matches, Jarrett already said, on the main stage coming up. Don't forget the other matches will be shown on our community channels as well. Rotterdam doing a fine job for us. And also Maynard stepping in to help us out, our Australian friend down under this morning or this evening in his world, ahead of time, some sort of TARDIS thing. He's doing matches as well. He's covered the Huck Lennox game this morning, as we said earlier on. Huck unfortunately not going through. So that's what it looks like today for Friday. We're going to see 2 matches on the stage from every single group, Group A through to D. And then tomorrow we'll move on to the final game of each group and the quarterfinals. So all the knockout games happening tomorrow. But we'll see at least 4 players advancing today, 1 from each of the groups. It's going to be very interesting. Let's show you all of the groups now. And this is where things get really serious. Yesterday was very tense for a lot of players, but I've got a feeling it's going to go 1 step higher today. Group A, Polt, Zest, TaeJa and Bunny. 3 Terrans in the same group as Zest, which is his worst matchup. That's a shame. Group B, Violet, Yoda, Hyun and Lennox qualifying through this morning against Huck. Group C, Massa from Canada. No? All right, okay. They're there somewhere. First, SOS, and we're just waiting for Hero and Snoot to finish their game. And in Group D, Scarlet from Canada, Flash, MC, and unfortunately for me, Life. I teased him yesterday.
Wait, why is that unfortunately for you?
So yesterday, we had a conversation with Life on the couch, and I teased him about the fact that he should go in the same group as Flash. And he said no, he didn't want that group.
Okay.
And then we drew the groups.
And he was?
And he was.
Okay.
So now he blames me.
Okay.
I didn't do the draw, but he blames me.
Okay.
So I'm now the evil arch enemy of Life, which is not really where I wanted to be.
Only just now, as opposed to like the long-standing,
yes.
constant
Yes.
arch enemy that's
I don't think he
existed.
takes you that seriously, Paul.
I hope not.
You're like 6 times older than him, too.
That's
so.
true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'm actually from a different planet than him, although I don't think he's human, so that probably works out. We're going to get into Group A in just a moment. The Group A brackets are very difficult for all the players. Bunny came through yesterday as one of the open bracket qualifiers, winning that one in some style, I have to say. He is the European hope in here. Polt, fresh from his Red Bull Detroit win. Zest, we we've said before, is former GSL champion, GSL Global champion, has probably been one of the best players of 2014 against the most successful player, not of just 2014, but of all time in terms of Premier tournaments that he's won. It's an insane group, Todd.
So
Yeah, it is. I think Bunny and Polta, they're already playing, and I heard there was a draw in the first game, and like lots of interesting things. Did you follow that?
I caught just the end of it, and I saw Bunny had no command center, Polt had no command center, and there were buildings in the corner of the map. I didn't see any way for that to result in anything but a draw. For me, probably the most exciting, there's kind of two really exciting parts of Group A. And the first one is Bunny, as the resident European, doing quite well, smashing through the open bracket, coming off of a pretty successful recent couple of tournament runs. Just to see how far he can go, how well he can do, not only, I mean, mostly TvT, but also against Protoss. And then there's TaeJa Polt, who just last weekend played each other in the finals at Red Bull Detroit, where TaeJa just got annihilated. It was a best of 5 TvT that lasted maybe 25, 30 minutes total. Polt 3-0'd him. I want to see that rematch.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the form we've got in here are all in form. They're all in good form. Zest, GSL champion this year, Bunny, Gfinity champion recently, Polt, Red Bull Battlegrounds champion recently, and TaeJa's won 3 titles in 2014 alone.
Yep.
So they're all winners in their own right.
Yeah.
There are no bad players. There are no players who aren't really in form. I guess the only one that you could really pick on a little bit maybe is Zest, because he hasn't won for a little while now. GSL was some months ago in terms of when he won. Hasn't shown any bad form necessarily, but
against Darren,
PvT
maybe.
is his worst matchup. So this is the worst thing that could possibly have happened to him.
He just advanced in GSL to the next round, but beating Solky twice. Did one Terran that he played Cure, he lost that. And now he's against basically the highest caliber of Terrans you can ever play against. So the big question is going to be, can he do well?
We're almost ready for the game, but just very quickly, last time these two met, TaeJa and Zest, it didn't
3-0 in Shenzhen for TaeJa, and it was
work out very well.
It was
for
a
Zest,
one-sided series, so there's also that rematch going for them as well in this group.
So what do you think of this group? How's it going to pan out? Who's winning it?
I think Polt is a favorite right now.
You think Polt?
Yeah, coming off of a 3-0 against TaeJa, and knowing how Polt was able to basically dismantle everyone he took out. He even beat San in a pretty convincing fashion at Red Bull Detroit, and I think San is one of the strongest Protosses right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's never really had a problem with Protoss per se. I remember the IEM Cologne run, he had Protoss after Protoss after Protoss, just destroyed them all until he got to the final. So what are your feelings like for this group, Todd?
I feel like TaeJa and Polt are the two favorites. Obviously, I'm hoping Zest going to put on a good show, and Bunny as well, who struggled in TvT before, but already had a nice game against Polt. Maybe it's a sign we're going to have some close and interesting games, and that's all we can hope for.
Okay, thank you very much, gents. Let's head over to the commentary desk now for our opening game of the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto Day 2. The group stages are upon us, ladies and gents. Enjoy the round of 16 with your commentary team, Kalaris and Apollo.
Masters desk for day 2 here at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto, and every single group that we're going to have throughout the day is a belter.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but this tournament is one of the biggest tournaments we've seen in StarCraft for a very, very long time. The biggest of names have come here to compete in Toronto, in Canada. We're getting closer and closer to the global finals at BlizzCon at the end of the year. There's a lot of points on the line, and this tournament is going to give us some of the best StarCraft games we've seen in a while.
And what better way to open it up with Zest versus TaeJa, two guys that did play at the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen, and that was a series that was very, very important because of what we saw from TaeJa. Everyone was questioning him. How is he going to compete against the Kespert players? And apparently very well.
All right, well, before we do get into the game and do the coverage and the commentary for you, we are going to head it back over to the main stage as Jarrett is going to introduce our two players to the main stage.
All right, guys. Are you ready for your first StarCraft match of the day? Are you guys hyped? Because get hyped. Our first player, playing as Terran, coming all the way from Korea, or maybe that's not where he lives at. Originally, that's where he came from his mom. He is the reigning IEM champion, taking down the Shenzhen title, which was the last Intel Extreme Masters. And the last time these two met was in the quarterfinals of that tournament with TaeJa coming away with a stomping victory of 3-0. There's a lot on the line here, and there's a bit of bad blood. So please give the craziest Canadian welcome to Liquid TaeJa. Come on! And his opponent from KT Rolster, also from Korea, arguably the best Protoss in the world, former GSL champion, Zest. Good luck, guys.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 of the day here on the main stream, Zest versus TaeJa. I've been looking forward to this. This is going to be really, really good. They played each other in Shenzhen, as we mentioned before. TaeJa completely stomped in the end. Completely stomped. Scrappy games, but very, very intense.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic rematch. And the reason why that game was so big back then is because we have Liquid TaeJa, who's traveled the world, winning all these different tournaments internationally. And there was a big question saying, can TaeJa compete with the best of the best from Korea in Pro League and GSL and tournaments like that? Well, that was the question that we asked, and the answer was given in Shenzhen, where it was a 3-0 in favor of TaeJa. But as much as it was in favor of TaeJa and it was a 3-0, it was, I would like to say, Zest's weakest performance that we've seen from him in a long, long time. He didn't quite play to his same standard. He opened up the series great. He started strong, but he dropped off in game 2 and 3, whether it was nerves, whether it was a lack of experience, whether TaeJa just had his number. But, you know, Zest didn't quite bring that level.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking forward to this so much because of how they shaped up in Shenzhen. I can only imagine that Zest here is no doubt looking for retribution against TaeJa. TaeJa is, of course, he's a monster, he's a beast, but Zest has proven himself so strongly in the Korean scene where you really don't see TaeJa. So again, I feel that Zest here, after things like, you know, all the Pro League practice that he had since then, it's not been too long, of course, and the Pro League now has finished, but it's still Zest.
It's still Zest, and he's still one of the best Protoss players out there. But Todd did mention in his recent GSL group, he did advance, but he lost the only game against the only Terran within that group, Cure, 2-0. You know, that's got to come into consideration here going up against TaeJa. If TaeJa's clearly going to have a lot of momentum coming into this because the last time they did play, it was 3-0. As you can see on screen, those are our 3 maps to be played, and this is the first game here on the main stage of day 2. And I'm sure this is going to be a good one. Liquid TaeJa, a player with 11 StarCraft 2 championships to his name, winning across the globe. In everywhere he's gone to, he's been able to pick up a championship. Of course, Zest, not quite the same style of player, as Zest is a guy who concentrates purely on Pro League practice, purely on playing in the GSL. Very concentrated, very focused practice. 2 very different players, but today, they meet here on the battlefield on the stage. And one will win, and unfortunately the other is going to go down to the lower bracket game.
And it's not like, I mean, when you look at the statistics across Zest's matchups, yes, technically this isn't one of his favored matchups, but you've got to look at the players that he's playing against in Korea, right? He's playing against people like Flash, who he beat to qualify in first place in the Asian qualifier to get here. He's beaten people like Mara, who's beaten people like Innovation. TaeJa right now is not on that checklist. He wants that victory over TaeJa, and then technically he's beaten every single best Terran player in the world, but that's not happened just yet.
Well, what are we going to see between these 2 players today? We are almost ready for the first game. Quite excited for this one. King Sejong Station is going to start us off here between these 2. Zest smiling, maybe feeling quite confident about things here. He's known that he was going to have to play against TaeJa for quite a while, but of course, TaeJa, the smiling guy here, I'm sure he's very, very confident to take this guy on.
All right, so we're getting geared up. King Sejong Station will be our first map here as we're getting into this. And again, I feel that it's going to be a whole lot different to what we saw in Shenzhen. The series that we saw in between these guys in Shenzhen was very, very scrappy, very kind of back and forth, very small, intense micro games. I'm fully expecting Zest to try and push it a little bit further. Of course, he can bring aggression if he wants to, but pushing it a little bit further for Zest, I think, is probably a good thing against TaeJa here for him.
Yeah, I think that's the way to play it most likely. And I think in such a heated battle like this we're about to see, it's always good to get the first damage dealt, the first blow, the first big play, if it's not necessarily a map win, just to outplay your opponent, to get a successful drop in, to successfully deny a Terran attack, or something along the lines, just something small that can really give you a bit of motivation, a bit of, an emotional advantage over your opponent, saying, okay, I can beat this guy, and it really does start to rally up. And it looks like, just having a quick look in the chat, both players already, there's a little bit of a hiccup when it came to getting these players in. But now they are, and we shall begin this in just a couple of seconds' time. Who's going to go to the winners match? Of course, we will be broadcasting the winner match here of this map straight away, straight after this one's finished. The other player will go to play the lower bracket game at the same time on one of our second streams. So the winner of this will stay on the main stage and will be going up against the winner of either Pult or Bunny. And we'll be looking to really mold the rest of this tournament up. 16 players left in this tournament. By the end of today, we'll be losing one from each group, which would bring us down to 12. And from there on out, more and more players will be eliminated from the Intel Extreme Masters here. A $25,000 tournament, a WCS global event. And this is, like I said earlier, going to be some of the best StarCraft you're going to see in a while.
Yeah, no series is going to be disappointing here. Let's get into game number 1 now. King Sage on station is our map. Up to the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. Give it up for TaeJa. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, a guy that spends most of his time in Korea, ever so often venturing out into the wilderness, such as Shenzhen. A little bit disappointing there, but can he make it work here in Toronto? Representing KT Rolster, it is Zest.
The Kingslayer, as they call him in Korea, because of his ability to beat the best of the best. But Liquid TaeJa, he comes into big games, and sometimes you say, I don't know if he can take this guy down, but he does. There's nothing that seems to be able to stop TaeJa from winning games left and right, and this is going to be an epic series for sure. What style are we going to see? We're going to see aggressive play from TaeJa. Is he going to be looking at factory play early on, dropping Hellions, dropping Marines, dropping Widow Mines, putting the pressure onto Zest very early on? He used that style a lot in Shenzhen for our first stop in the Intel Extreme Masters. What are we going to see from Zest? The traditional ways meant to play defensive, maybe double forge, maybe a single forge and a blink upgrade to protect against an aggressive Terran player. And that's really going to, once we find out which style they will play, is going to set the pace for the rest of this series.
Yeah, you're right. The Kingslayer, as you mentioned him. TaeJa, technically in Korean, I believe means prince. So we're going to have to see if he can slay the prince here in TaeJa. As you're right, TaeJa has a lot of options, as does Zest. TaeJa was already a little bit wary in his main base, scouting out for any kind of proxy that was going on with his SCV. So TaeJa is taking absolutely no risks here in game number 1.
Yeah, they shouldn't do. I mean, especially the way that the last series went. Zest, for sure. This guy must be coming for revenge. He lost 3 games to 0 the last time they played, and Zest at that tournament in the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen was the favorite to take the entire of the event. This time he's not so much because of recent form, but if he's able to beat TaeJa today, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to start looking at Zest as a title contender here.
Yeah, definitely. He's extremely likely to do well in this tournament as long as he can get past this group stage. I mean, but every single group is so stacked. It's going to be difficult. The Zealot is being produced here by Zest. Let's see if he actually keeps that going. It does cancel it just at the very end there after this SCV. Has now been spotted in the main base. He just wants to rush down that Nexus a little bit quicker. A probe is hiding next to the mineral line, so TaeJa didn't actually see it on the way through the natural.
Yeah, no blocking at all there, and Zest will be able to get the Nexus down. And we are seeing quite standardized openings by both players, very normalized openings. It's just the one gateway expansion, followed by the second gas here, once the expansion's just kind of thrown down at the same time. Whereas on the other side of things, TaeJa's gone for the Reaper opening. Very common. Lots of scouting is going to be available for him. He's going to be able to see what tech choice, hopefully, should I say, see what tech choice Zest would prefer to go down, whether it be the Twilight Council, the Stargate, the robotics facility. But more interesting than not, TaeJa's gone barracks behind this. He hasn't dedicated an income towards gas. He hasn't gone towards a factory. It's going to be 3 barracks, and that means he's going to start to ramp up his unit production, and that could tell us that he could potentially look for an opening, depending on what he sees with the Reaper and how greedy Zest is going to be.
Yeah, and the Twilight Council is already going down, actually in a place where the Reaper could easily spot it, as he's going to try and jump in. That doesn't go past the Stalker, most importantly. So Zest here, hiding that for now. as this continues on. I would be surprised if he went for Dark Templars, but we've actually seen a lot of them in this matchup recently.
It's very open for him to do so. Blink is obviously the more common of the two choices, but Dark Templar could be used here. He hasn't, Zest that is, hasn't managed to get any scouting info himself yet. He's just now sending the Mothership Core to try and figure out, is it barracks play? Is it factory? Do I need to think about detection if it's going to be Widowmized? Do I need to start thinking about units if it's going to be Mass Hellions? But we'll see if he gets that. But the more important part here, TaeJa, without the info, doesn't know about the Twilight Council yet. This Reaper's very important. He needs to get that info.
And he's going to have a little bit of a hard time because the Stalker's already guarding the locations. He jumps past the first one, though. This Stalker protecting, and he doesn't get to the Twilight Council. Is he going to keep going forward? No, he does not.
He doesn't get it, but more important, he saw the 3 extra gateways being added on. You don't see 3 extra gateways at this time in the game. All of a sudden, he must be thinking, these gateways, there must have been something behind it. You don't really go Stargate, then 4 gateways. You don't really go Robo, then 4 gateways like this in total. The only strategy that makes sense is for Blink to be deployed here. I think TaeJa's going to read into this. He's moving out already with units. He's looking for the probe or pylon. He's looking to catch these units here. Marauder's got a lot of damage output, but it is going to be Zest who pulls back.
Yeah, he's got to be very, very careful about how he controls this. Pulling back now. Pylon on this right-hand side. One Marine not able to spot that just yet at all.
This is 4 gateways worth of units, Kolaris. This is a lot of units out in the middle for TaeJa. 4 Stalkers to join the 2 that are already out, to go to a total of, on-screen math, 6.
Whoa.
There's going to be a lot here.
Yeah,
and he's got to be very careful not to lose his units. Where are they? They're on the other side of the map, but if what we see may happen here, TaeJa may go for a counter. He may go to the natural here, completely avoid, but he's got to make sure he has enough units at home to defend against these Stalkers.
Well, that's exactly what Polt was doing back in Intellect Stream Masters Cologne last season when he was going up against Blink players. So TaeJa may have been reading into this quite heavily and just trying to go for something like this. If the units did get caught, obviously the Stalkers could have brought down that Marauder, but should be okay. They could just blink back if they wanted to.
Zest, does he think the units are inside the main base? I don't think it matters anymore because TaeJa is about to break this natural here. Photon overcharge immediately, but probes are going to go down. 2-3 already. This is a nice move from TaeJa.
Yeah, this is so familiar. Really good move. Forcing off from the mineral line completely, so denying a lot of mining time. Zest will clean up, though. So not too bad in the end. Didn't lose too many workers.
Yeah, but he did kill off 6 workers. 6 workers, I think that's a decent amount to bring down from that kind of attack. It's not a big move, not a big game-changing move. But with TaeJa still being on a similar army supply and having a better income, this does work nicely for him.
Yeah, and now, I mean, look at the amount of units that we see here from TaeJa at the back. It's going to be very difficult for those Stalkers to really do anything. So is there going to be an alternate plan? He can't take on that Bioforce right now.
No, he cannot, but Blink should be ready to blink away here. But TaeJa is going to have an opportunity to deal a lot of damage. Kolaris, 1 Photon Overcharge already been used. With going for Twilight Council Blink, the robotics facility is delayed, therefore the robotics bay is delayed, which is the ultimate defense here. You need Colossus. You cannot stay on just gateway units. Zest is throwing down a 3rd base.
He's gonna be very
how does he think he's going to defend this with only a couple of Stalkers?
It's going to be very, very difficult. And TaeJa's already on the hunt. He's going down to that left-hand side. The rocks for Zest were brought down there because he knows that any angle that he can buy time on is good, but TaeJa is not taking that route. He's going all the way around.
And TaeJa's going 5 barracks too. It's not just 3. He's going to be ramping out the units.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot. Normally you see the command center before that to have a bit more longevity, but if he gets the 3rd cancel, well, he doesn't really need the 3rd command center right now. Of course, he can just put the pressure on. And for now, there's just no Colossus out to really deal with this.
All right, well, we are going to see TaeJa swing down. He should be able to get a cancel on this. He's got a lot of Marauders here. And he sees it. And he's going to go in and start targeting this down. And this is going to be very hard for Zest to keep this alive.
It's a bit of heartbreak there for Zest because he just didn't see this entire army moving across the map at all. And they're going to stick around, get the cancel, get on back. Good move there by TaeJa.
Yeah, well done there by TaeJa, keeping his opponent back on 2 bases. He's got to try and get out. Or I'm not sure if he'll get out with all these units, but if he can pick some units off on the way, that would be nice. As, drop on the natural right above that Colossus here.
Oh, this is a good move here by TaeJa again. He's really running Zest ragged. This is very, very difficult for him to defend against. Even just small little bits of damage like a probe here or there, a pylon or 2. Oof. Okay, so good escape as well by TaeJa.
Yeah, quite a skilled game here by both players, but the 3rd being cancelled, that does slow Zest down. But Zest on the other side did get a Zealot, did slow down the SCV, from building this command center.
Not too bad, not too bad. We'll get cleaned up eventually, but now Zest knows the progression of his opponent as well. Sees that third command center's down, he can try and take his third. Of course, there's not really going to be a whole lot of units there right now because of how he did push that force back earlier on when that cancel occurred.
But look at the army supply for TaeJa. By going 5 barracks like this, 68 army supply to 45. Zest, if they're fighting head up against each other, one army versus one army, Zest in a good position with Photon Overcharge is more than likely going to be able to defend it. The problem comes when it's out in the open, maybe if this army's spread up or if there's a massive amount of drops and different attacks from different angles.
Yeah.
Look how much there is there.
Huge army. Zest now has to position this defense very, very well. 2 Colossus, yes, there. They do have Thermal Lance now
and
finished.
force fields to protect them.
Yeah, so this should be okay as long as the force fields are good. There's a Guardian Shield, soak up a bit of this damage. Force fields cut off just a small chunk of this army, but deny the rest from actually advancing on too easily. And those extra force fields catch a few of the units down to the south as well. Good pick up there, though, by TaeJa.
Very patient play from Zest, not using 4 force fields all at once. It was 2, then 2, preserving the energy here. But he's got to keep his Colossus alive and the Nexus. What goes down immediately? Big pick off there from TaeJa.
Yeah, very nice movement forwards, but a second Colossus, or third Colossus even, rendezvous with all of this army, pushing this back. So a little bit unfortunate there for the TaeJa push forwards.
Yeah, well done there by TaeJa. You're not really meant to be able to get a Colossus like that, but he wasn't able to get the third. He did lose quite a bit of army at the same time. Even a couple of Medivacs at the back there. Nicely played by Zest.
Yeah, and that's really where you want to get damage done as the Protoss, right? Into the Medivacs. If you can get those, then you're cutting into a lot of the gas expenditure of the Terran as opposed to Marines and Marauders. They're not exactly that gas intensive, and they're not too expensive overall.
All right, Warp Prism out in the game. But TaeJa, 3 Medivacs full of units here. There's an Observer on the right, but does it go past it here? If he spots this, he'll have units in position.
If he goes through that small sliver between these two...
Well, by the looks of the minimap, there may be Stalkers already in position here by Zest, maybe expecting something like this.
Yeah. Zest's locked down, to be honest.
Yeah.
There is a small force on the left-hand side as well for TaeJa, trying to maybe wiggle around towards that third, but...
This is where Zest is the best at. I mean, if he doesn't take a lot of damage and can get closer and closer to the mid to late game. He's even got a second Forge coming in and the Templar Archives. This is where he excels in playing Protoss versus Terran. Survive in the middle and the early middle part, then really stretch it out later on.
Here he goes, tried to do a little bit of damage to this third base, trying to get a snipe out, but those Marauders are going to have to do a whole lot of work. It's getting close, but the Colossus should be able to clean this up in the end.
Yeah, well done there by Zest. That would have been very, very bad if he'd lost that. And that's definitely something we'll have to, follow for later on. Is TaeJa going to try and get to that Nexus again?
And overall, I mean, this game has already gotten further than the previous series in its entirety when they played in Shenzhen. So we're really going to see how each of these players are testing each other's mettle in this series as a whole. Because right now, this game is going the distance.
Yeah, I mean, even though, players like us, Claris, players who are... or people watching, they know that the longer the game gets, the harder it is for Terran to keep up with Protoss, to say it very politely there. TaeJa's got very, very good late game army control. He was made almost famous for his Ghost control and his Vikings in the earlier parts of Wings of Liberty. He was one of the first Terrans to be able to compete properly against high-level Protoss players in the later stages. So as much as it is difficult, he can do it.
Yes, he can. A little bit of Warp Prism harassment up to this top left now, trying to deny some mining time, but in the end, it should be cleaned up by the reinforcements back here for TaeJa even, but Zest, on the other side of things, has a fourth base on the way.
Zest is comfortable.
Yeah, if he's keeping the fight on his opponent's side of the map, then how can he really be pressured whilst taking these bases?
Right, and he's got +3 armor on the way. He's got his first attack upgrade. He's adding in Immortals, always great against a player who has a decent amount of Marauders, but TaeJa isn't really ready until he has a decent amount of Ghosts with his army. He may be able to take a fight against just Colossus because he does have a decent amount of Vikings, but how is he going to, play against the Immortals, the Zealots, because there's going to be a lot of them, and also the High Templar here? How many Ghosts does TaeJa have with him now? It's...
none.
None? Exactly, so this is going to be hard for him to get a lot of damage done.
Yeah.
He will strike with 2-2, as you can see, nicely timing that up for the right-hand side, but can he really get damage done with this army?
And overall, 3 ghosts just popped, 1 more on the way. So he will have 4 in total in just a little bit, but you're right. I mean, as long as Zest plays the normal style of Protoss with High Templar flanking from every single angle and trying to really put a lot of fear in the Terran in advancing, it's a very, very difficult time for the Terran going into these later stages.
Can you remember game 1 of TaeJa Zest last time they played in Shenzhen? It was kind of a similar length game, and then it just ended instantly because Zest took a bad engagement and TaeJa took a beautiful one, and it was gone in an instant. Fights can go that one-sided at this stage of the game, despite them having the same kind of tech choices here: Storm, Ghost, Viking, Colossus. So it all comes down to the engagement.
Trying to pursue this, even gets a Ghost on the way out for a few Zealots. That's a nice trade already there for Zest. Wants to go out of there, though, because the army is trying to barrel down upon him.
Well, Ghosts are in there now, and he landed a good EMP already. And look at this, Zest is running.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, those Vikings providing great support fire. He doesn't actually lose that Colossus that was going very low, so good save by Zest in the end with the Stalkers blinking to the north.
And Zest is maxed out now, and TaeJa's not. This is a perfect time for Zest to start striking. He's going to hit before 3-3 of his opponent. He can remax with Zealots. He's got the Dark Shrine coming into play too, so he can always go for a counter-attack, a swing around with Dark Templar towards the back bases here, while putting the pressure onto TaeJa. But TaeJa's got to hold this high ground. He can EMP the ramp. It's not like TaeJa, not like Zest can just walk up there easily.
No, not at all. Not at all. He has to take the fight elsewhere here. That's where TaeJa knows he's strong, as shown there, getting a snipe and an EMP on a few of the High Templars straying forwards. But Zest in the wings, in the back, has a few more High Templars in reserve, so if that continues on, he can just keep bringing them forwards, having conserved energy to try and go for alternate attacks.
If Zest strikes soon with his +3 armor and potentially +2 attack here before 3-3's done, it's going to really... it will make a very cost-efficient fight for him.
Yeah, I
He's
think
going to trade off so well.
Needs to be careful. Breaking down those rocks over there. That's a really good Storm to actually nibble away at this army. TaeJa has to be careful about that. He doesn't have all the longevity in the world, but
Two High Templar on the left.
Oh, trying to get in there. How much
TaeJa
did
didn't see them.
Oh, nice Storms. Very nice Storms. Those Colossus already going to town as well, doing quite a bit of damage.
But look at the supplies.
Yeah.
Because he maxed out and because of the economy and the money that he's got in the bank, he's just warping in. He's harassing at the same time. Double Colossus being made. This is the level that we expected from Zest the first time around these two played. Zest, look at the supplies. It tells a story. The game's almost won.
Yeah, exactly. This is Zest to a T. This is what we expect from him. You're right. And right now, he got the second Robo facility. He's got double Colossus on the way. So this is going to become increasingly harder and harder for TaeJa to keep dealing with after having so much splash available and Dark Templar
TaeJa needs to buy himself more time to rebuild his army. But if he keeps getting harassed in multiple areas, he's going to have to dedicate more of that army to defend. And then what happens if Zest just goes for the middle, the 4th base, the planetary? If this goes down, TaeJa will not have the money to rebuild that army. This is so important to keep this alive.
Yeah, he expands aggressively, trying to hold on to that high ground once an engagement comes as an EMP to hit those Immortals. But the planetary doesn't die, but he's losing so many workers at the back as well.
I think he's fighting off Zest here. This is a very good fight for TaeJa. The planetary doing so much there. He's been able to deal kind of with the Dark Templars at home. And that was good for TaeJa. The supplies evened up more. But once again, Zest rebuilds, rewarps in. He's going to strike again now. This time, though, I'm not sure if TaeJa's going to be ready.
Exactly. I mean, he has 4 Vikings right now to deal with the rising Colossus count. Once those extra 2 Colossi pop and the gateway units are just replenished.
Yeah, there's not enough Vikings. There's only 4.
He can't deal with it. He cannot deal with it.
Yeah,
so.
And then Zest taking a 5th base as Zest Wood in the center here. He's really demanding and just commanding this game and how it's meant to play out and how he wants it to play out. Ever since he started to defend in that early mid-game, he's in this comfortable position, and he's going to take the fight to TaeJa here.
And Storm just to try and shoo this off, but in the end, it really doesn't do a whole lot.
Where's the 3rd and 4th Colossus when they come?
Yeah, they're on the way. They are on the way. They are walking across now, and this spells doom for TaeJa unless he gets a very strong engagement. He needs to be flanking. He needs to be pincering this army, not taking it from the direct fight straight.
Yeah, the Colossus is the problem. 4 Vikings on the way. He's only got 4 out still, but there's flanking High Tempo on the right, 4 Colossus on the left.
Takes a little bit of damage. That one Marine on the right-hand side, thankfully for it. Well,
that one Marine.
He survived. He's a good job. Wow. He's got to be very, very careful about how he takes this, that's
Only
for sure.
6 Vikings.
He's buying time for some Vikings.
Oh, and then look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Zest is so smart here. He's going to pull TaeJa back. He has to go defend against those Zealots. And as soon as he dedicates any amount of resources from that army that he has in the open, that's when Zest will go in. Yeah. Look, TaeJa he has to go back.
it's almost as if, but then again, he can't get drawn away from this base that's so fresh, so important to him here. So he is really in a tight bind.
Look, Zest went up there and said, okay, fine. If you're going to sit there, then I'll just destroy everything on your natural and your main base. That's fine with me. You have to go back to defend this. Otherwise, your production, your reinforcements can't get there. But if you don't, then fine.
Yeah, catch-22 situation, man. You're really, really doomed here. And this point is TaeJa. He has to be so careful about this. Now he's taking the engagement though at the front. Storm goes down, dances out of it nicely. Vikings trying to pursue. They do get hit by a Storm as well. The Colossus are not dying fast enough throughout all of this. And Zest now rocketing in terms of supply. GG, game number 1 goes to Zest. And after the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen 3-0 sweep by TaeJa, Zest's got to be happy with that first game.
Yes, he should be. Yes, he should be. And that's the level that Zest was meant to bring back then. And he's brought it today. And remember, this is a best of 3, not a best of 5 like it was last time. So with just a single map victory here for Zest coming into game number 2, he's going to be seeing himself moving into the winners match. And for some of you maybe just watching this stream or watching the in the audience here, the other game that was being played at the same time in this group is Pult and Bunny. And to the surprise of many, Bunny won 2-0. Liquid Bunny is in the winners match waiting for either one of these players. Pult is in the lower bracket game, in the losers game. He must play the loser of this series to fight for his tournament life. This is the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto, and this is going to get very intense very fast today.
Yes, it is, especially with Bunny taking that series there. Again, as a non-Korean hope, he is leading us the way, is Bunny, in this group. So, merry-go-round is going to be our next map between these two guys, Zest and TaeJa. Zest, if he can take the 2-0 clean sweep himself here, is going to be very, very happy with that. He must want the revenge over TaeJa, considering how he went out of Shenzhen. That was not what Zest was destined to do in that tournament, unfortunately for him. He wanted more.
New continent, new country, new tournament, Kalaris. And this is could go anyway now, and Zest definitely looking fantastic. TaeJa needs to start to bring the heat in the early stages, the mid stages. He's got to find a way to deal damage to Zest, and if he doesn't, he's gonna have to play straight up like we saw in that last game, where it is not easy to compete against a world-class player like Zest is. So, you know, the very interesting part for me now, going into this next map, what is TaeJa thinking? What is TaeJa going to do? Does he change it up drastically? Does he want to play factory style? Winner minds Hellions? Does he want to put the pressure onto Zest immediately? Does he say, I'm going to play greedy and I will take you in the later stages because I'm good enough to do that? So this next game's going to be pretty cool to see how TaeJa is going to adapt into this.
All right then, game number 2 now on the way. Merry-go-round is our map, spawning down to the south here as our blue Terran representing Team Liquid. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for TaeJa. And up to the top right-hand corner, currently 1 game up in this best of 3 series. Looking to move on to the winners match, representing KT Rolster, it is Zest.
KT Rolster, the best StarCraft 2 team in the world with their recent Pro League victory. And Zest, the captain, the flag carrier, the flag bearer for his team at the front. And of course, later on today, I'm sure a lot of you are excited because I am. Flash is here. Flash is going to be playing later. He's in the same group as Scarlet. He's in the same group as MC. He's in the same group as Life.
Wow.
That Group D is unbelievable. And of course, we'll be playing that out in a couple of hours once we get through these first couple of groups. But for now, it's game 2 between Liquid TaeJa and KT Rolster Zest.
And overall, Sean, this is merry-go-round. Can you talk us through the nuances of how this matchup goes on a map like this?
Well, the biggest thing to point out here is that the third base of a Protoss player is, you hear this a lot, it's out in the open and it's a very difficult position to defend.
Yeah.
But on a map like this, it's so close to the Terran's third,
yes,
which is, you know, on similar value when you come to discussions about this. If we were to see SCV pulls, any kind of aggressive play from TaeJa on 3 bases, because the map's kind of small in this regard, he's going to be very heightened towards aggression. He's going to be looking to drop in the main base, do damage on the third. SCV pulls are going to be much, much faster and much more difficult to defend for Zest, especially out in the open.
So overall, on Zest side of things then, how do you feel that a Protoss should really kind of approach a map like this when you have to be a little bit cautious?
You have to play, like you said, you just have to play cautious.
Right.
You've got to take it slow. You don't play too greedy by taking the third too fast. You make sure you are 100% safe on 2 bases, then slowly move towards your third, and then take it with more units than you would have normally. But the way that TaeJa can counteract that is he plays greedy.
Yes.
He doesn't necessarily need to play aggressive into that, because the frightening thing here for Zest is that aggression. But if it doesn't come, then TaeJa can build up a bigger army faster because he worked more so on his income and his economy.
So overall, the Terran dictates a game on a map like this.
Definitely here.
Zest with that probe.
But look
being
at
a little bit
TaeJa,
sneaky.
changing it up already, just going straight for command center first.
Nice, nice. So you can really get away with it. I mean, there's not a whole lot Zest can do.
Zest's probe here, the reason why it's sat outside is because he's expecting a Reaper opening again, more than likely, and he's waiting till the Reaper's built, which is about 3:30 or so, and then it moves out.
Yeah.
So now at 4 minutes, he moves in to get more information on what's going on, maybe harass the command center. But he's going to go in and be like, okay, well, there's no Reaper. That's a command center finish with a Marine popping out. So he knows that it's command center first. He knows that TaeJa's played greedy with his opening here. What does Zest start to think about? Does he try to take a sneaky third base and hide it because TaeJa doesn't have super aggressive options here? Does he look to go for a 2-base play? Does he just play normal?
Well, we'll find out in just a bit here as Zest gearing up for this game. He's already got the Twilight Council going down in quite the hidden location here. So he could get aggressive with this. We've seen blink plays being attempted on this map before here by Zest, but again, there's still always those Dark Templar wild cards.
Yeah, Zest is playing to TaeJa's weakness in this game, despite having a good economy through going through the command center first. He doesn't have the Reaper.
Yeah.
How is he meant to scout? He's meant to use a scan, but is he really going to scan to the complete bottom side of Zest base? I don't think so.
Yeah, very, very rare that that would occur. TaeJa has a little bit of problem pushing that away, but losing a Marine overall, not too bad. As a Stalker at the front as well, trying to keep an eye on things.
TaeJa doesn't even know where his opponent is.
Yeah.
He hasn't even scouted this game. He's got absolutely no idea. So where does he even scan, Clark? He scan top right or top left?
He goes nowhere.
He doesn't scan.
He's just playing his own game, right? He's just sitting back, playing his own game, and then when this hits him at the very front is when he's going to know about it, unless he has a unit out in the middle of the map for some reason.
So where are TaeJa's units going to be? How many bunkers does he randomly have here? Because without the information, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He's got to prepare for DTs. Arguably, he's got to prepare for a random Oracle to fly in. He's got to prepare for blink play. What happens if there's a third Nexus down at this point? So these are all the options that TaeJa must be thinking about, but he can't do anything about it. He's playing his own game. So now, let's look more specifically at this game. Blink play, 4 gateways. Is this going to do damage? Because TaeJa is not expecting this to come.
And not only that, but it's only been Marines up until that one Marauder now just starts. So, well, Marauder's going to help out a little bit throughout all of this. But Zest also did something similar to this. Oh, he scanned up in the top right. Just wow.
Well, he sees gateways finishing up, Clara, so I think he knows that he's about to get hit by something. So TaeJa, out of the blue, scans to the top right here, gets the scan off.
That was impressive. 50-50 chance of him being up there, and indeed he is. So TaeJa now trying to buckle on down. There's only this one bunker at the front, though, to deal with this.
And right now, there are units in the main base as well, in case there was a blink in. A second bunker. SCV sees units there. He knows he's playing against what could be the exact same as the last game, so he knows it could be 6 Stalkers, could be 10 here.
Yeah, that's
and
the
all
power
the units
of the
are in
build.
the main base.
Yeah, that's the power of the build. Like, you have options here as a Protoss. You don't even have to fully commit to this, but this is a little bit more of a commitment here. Tries to get the bunker, doesn't get it in the end, though, does Zest. He has high ground vision, though.
Only 4 workers he's killed. It's not the highest amount for this. I'd say TaeJa is doing fine.
Yeah, doing all right.
And that was a big investment of Stalkers here. The robotics facility, very late. There is no forge. There are no upgrades.
That's true. That's true.
So in a second, when TaeJa's finally ready, through the greed that he's played, command center first, late scan, so very focused on mules for the majority of it, TaeJa's going to move out with Stim, with Medivacs, with a very, very strong army. Does Zest have what it takes to defend a counter? Does he need to, blink in and try to buy time?
Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Loses a Stalker immediately there. You need to preserve every single unit right now. This is incredibly important. And with +1 attack finish as well, there's no armor.
Yeah, that's a huge army, an absolutely huge army. And if he gets whiff of that third going up as well, he can easily cancel that. Zest took this one over on the left-hand side because obviously he's trying to expand away from him.
There
but
is
he has no
way
units.
he's keeping that third. No way.
No, the Robobait is so late. Of course, he was adding on gases whilst he was warping in the extra, going up to 10 Stalkers, but even that speed of actually trying to transition on behind this, it's very, very late.
All right, well, the Medivacs are out. Combat shields just now 10 seconds away from being completed. But the robotics bay is so incredibly slow here.
He sees a little bit of this army on the left-hand side as well, just a glimmer of it, and now sees the full extent to a certain degree. But knows that, I mean, there is going to be some pressure going over there. Zest now has to prepare somehow, and ultimately, it's going to be very, very difficult to deal with this without Colossus. He needs those.
All right, well, Zest going to see this army once again. How is he going to deal with this? He's let that Nexus complete, so he's going to try and defend it. He has a Voted Overcharge, Force Field, Zealots, and Stalkers. But TaeJa's not going in yet.
I think Force Fields are the big key. Oh, wow, he actually threw down Photon Overcharge. Very premature.
You're expecting TaeJa to go in.
Yeah, and he just pulls back.
But he's not. He's on 3 backs. He's expecting maybe Zest to be ready for this. He's got a fast 3rd command center. He's got his 4th and 5th. But with Zest being allowed to keep this Nexus, it bodes very well for him.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Definitely. He basically took a risk at the beginning and then took his tech late, and now it is gearing up a little bit. He's got a Colossus out.
With Zest getting so many units now, the one smart thing you could say, actually, let's just see if TaeJa goes in here or not, and then I'll talk about it. I think he's not going to. But the smart thing with TaeJa is probably saying, well, actually, I want to talk about it, but there's also action happening here. Double Medivac on the right.
I mean, these 3 bases are so drawn out between one another. The Stalkers are there, though. He's going to try and drop on top of the Colossus, as well as pushing on this left-hand side as well. Really trying to kill off what he can here. That Gateway Force on the left-hand side might not be so great against all of this. And TaeJa, I think he's winning both battles. And they're getting pushed away over there, but in the end, like, he could do some damage.
I mean, look at the supply count. Zest is losing a lot here, Kalaris. This is very difficult for the position that he's put himself in. But it's 40 army supply to 46. The worker supply, 66 for TaeJa. He's skyrocketing now. I've waited very patiently for the right time to go in.
I mean, even in the main base, getting the Colossus, I would argue that's pretty good.
There is no forges.
Yeah.
With all the units that Zest had to build to defend, which is what I was trying to get onto, he couldn't build forges. He can't get upgrades. And with 6 more gateways, it's like an all-in.
Yeah, he's got to do something.
He's going Stalker Colossus, kill the Vikings. Let's pray I'm going to win. let's pray to Flash that I'm going to win here, because this is going to be incredibly difficult to do. TaeJa is going to be ready for this type of attack. He's going to have quite a lot of units out. Currently, no Vikings, so that is something to think about. But this is a wide open map around that 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, if TaeJa gets whiff of this actually coming across the map here and spreads his units out and tries to flank into those Colossi, he can kill them off with bioplay if he gets a good engagement. He's picking up a lot of this army, actually, and decides all of a sudden after seeing that maybe that's not the best idea. So we'll try and defend for just a little bit whilst all this is going on.
Yeah, turret being added on. Vikings being made 4 at a time now. TaeJa knows, defend this, equalize the series. Lose, and go face Pult in the loser bracket.
It just certainly doesn't want to be doing that at this point. Doesn't want to be going down to the losers bracket, though. Zest is on the warpath. He's looking for it. He gets actually a few Vikings at the very beginning of this fight. Zealots need to go forwards. They don't have charge, so they're not into the fight that quickly. But the 2 Colossi at the back are surviving, keeping alive. The supplies are very, very even right now. Zest trying to warp in just on this right-hand side, get some more units in the fight, but the Colossus still haven't died during all of this.
3 Colossus.
If he can get those Vikings, but the Marauders on the left-hand side. He gets those 2, pushes those away, needs to get to the Vikings, does, gets 1, gets a second one. No, not too far.
He doesn't have the Viking numbers here.
Yeah, it's very difficult. The Marauders on the left-hand side trying to go for the Colossus as well. Oh, he's actually on top of them with the bio. He's going to lose them all.
3 of them.
He got lost. How did Zest let that happen?
TaeJa got rid of all 3 Colossus. That is so big. It's not over yet, but that was such a great start. Look, he's got so many more units coming out. He's got a bunker there. He's got a decent amount of medivacs. How could he let the Colossus be destroyed there?
If he'd have just had a little bit more support with them or brought them back something, he would have had far more firepower.
2 upgrades are about to complete for TaeJa.
Oh, this is going to be a big deal. This is a very, very big deal. There's no splash damage here at all to deal with this, as the bio now being healed. The longevity is just too strong against only gateway units here, as as TaeJa at his third base, defending valiantly, killing off everything. Zest is just down and out. He needs to find a way through.
He's not going to. 2 upgrades complete now. There's still 3 sets of mules to be made. TaeJa defends his third base. I don't believe it. I don't understand how 3 Colossus like that could get picked off so easily against just a couple of Marauders and a single Marine, I think it was. And now TaeJa's back in business. 2 upgrades completed against 0-0 Zest. That was Zest's opportunity to get the revenge, to get the 2-0. It's now gone. That is, it's so gone at this point. TaeJa is in. He's just speeding towards his victory. He's in the best position you could have hoped for.
He's in the driver's seat, and he's going to continue putting everything on that throttle, keeping his opponent on the defensive, unfortunately, here for Zest, who had all the firepower in the world and lost it in an instant. The gateways have been turned off. TaeJa can now just press his advantage at any location he wants, because Zest just doesn't have the numbers to make up for it.
Yeah, and behind this, 4 Vikings at a time should be being built. That is the only concern TaeJa should ever have at this point. Build the Vikings, don't lose to the Colossus, and this should be an easy game for him. An easy game to finish up, should I say. Good game is called. And TaeJa does equalize up.
Nicely done by TaeJa. He was looking a little bit desperate there in the end, but allowing those Colossus to go down for Zest. The big blow to him, a very big blow. And now TaeJa taking it back. Got a fight on our hands.
Yes, we do. 1-1. And it is going to go to the final deciding game. Which player is going to go to the winner bracket game? Which player is going to look better and better and hopefully move forward into the next day's set of games? But wow, wow, wow. So incredibly awesome series between these 2 players. But it will come down to just one single map. And at this, I mean, we're still in the round of 16, which is funny to say.
Yeah.
These 2 players could easily, compete in any final, and no one would be surprised at it. Of course, TaeJa, a 11-time StarCraft 2 champion, 11 championships over the last couple of years. Absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't want to compare them at all, but we have Zest, who did win GSL earlier this year. He won the Global Championship as well. Only 2 titles, but 2 very, very big titles. But TaeJa is looking to maybe go in both series 2-0 over this guy. 3-0 last time, maybe 2-1 here.
Yeah, he wants that victory. I mean, at this point in this round of 16, because the tournament's so stacked, even going down to the lower bracket in these groups is pretty difficult. If you have to go down there and play against Polt instead of Bunny, as one of these 2 guys, I'm pretty sure they know who they want to be playing going into that winner's match.
Yeah. I feel like this is more so the game of I don't want to play versus Polt more than it is let me go to the winner's bracket.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like I just don't want to play Polt.
I mean, imagine if TaeJa has to go and play Polt again, and he lost to him last time. So
yeah,
it's that doesn't happen too often for TaeJa and TvT, but Polt brought it to him.
Polt definitely showed him the way, and of course Zest is a world-class Protoss who no Terran would want to face off against.
No, not at all. All right, so we're getting into game number 3 in just a little bit. Foxtrot Labs between these 2 is our map. Again, what a way to start off day number 2 here with 2 of the best players in the world fighting one another just to move on to the winner's match. Never mind anything else here at this tournament.
Don't even get me started to think about the round of 8, what we'll see this weekend.
It's going to be phenomenal.
Don't even get me started.
It's going to be phenomenal. All right, countdown is finished up. Zest and TaeJa now loading in to the final game of their series. One of these moves on to the winners. One of them will be playing Bunny. The next, unfortunately, goes down to the losers to play against Polt. And there, one of them will be eliminated from the entire tournament. Let's get into it. Game number 3 now here on Foxtrot Labs, as we have, spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Terran. Representing Team Liquid, it's TaeJa. And up to the top right, our red Protoss, representing KT Rolster. Give it up for Zest.
Bada bing, bada boom, Colaris, and here we are, game 3. Which one of these 2 absolute giants in the StarCraft 2 scene is gonna move through? Does TaeJa want to risk going command center first? Does he want to risk getting eliminated straight away against something aggressive that Zest can do? How is Zest going to play? Because overall, despite that slight aggression, his playstyle is usually very defensive, really thinking about getting to the late game, because that's where he wins the majority of his games. Does TaeJa throw his spin in? Does he do something wild, factory play like I talked before, Hellions or something?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for him to like do something like a command center first on this map, because it is forced cross positions, right, on Foxtrot Labs. So you've got to be very, very careful how you approach this, as really any race. As Zest here for now, likewise opening up Gateway. No doubt going to be opening up very, very normally. Sending this probe across to get a nice early scout out of exactly what TaeJa is going to be doing.
I definitely feel that TaeJa is going to be feeling a little bit worried coming into Game 3 here. He lost Game 1, and you can say that Zest pretty much played that really well, and TaeJa didn't really look like he could come back into it a lot often. But Game 2 as well, he almost lost again. He's got to be so careful. It could have been 2-0 here. And Zest definitely playing much, much better than the last time they played.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're right about that. As that could have gone completely the other way if he hadn't somehow wiggled around the army to get to those Colossi. As for now, he did go in there, see the gas, knows what's going on. Reaper's going to be on the way. He'll be able to prepare against that. He's already built a wall off on the left-hand side of his mineral line for the most part, so that will deny the Reaper a little bit of movement in the main.
Yeah, TaeJa's not taking any risks. Back to the Reaper, like Game 1. Make sure you know exactly what Zest is doing at all times here. It is way too risky to be able to go blind like he did in the last game. It was a very risky game that he played. He did reap the benefits from it, having the earlier and better economy, making sure he could defend against something that he didn't know was coming. So that's always, you know, a magical player.
Yeah. And that's the scary thing about Zest. What Zest's done in Game 1 to Game 2 is that he's opened up technically very, very similarly in both games, but then just transitioned out of it a little bit quicker in Game number 1. Game 2 obviously put on a little bit more aggression, but that's the versatility of it. Of course, it does leave you a little bit behind in terms of the robo facility, but Zest's the kind of caliber player where he can play from that situation, as we've seen.
Well, Reaper poking in. Having a look around, he's going to see a pylon here. It's actually kind of important to see that pylon. It's definitely a location where a tech structure could be hidden.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you were mentioning it before in our previous WCS cast, I believe, where if you can get in there, if you can see everything with the Reaper where those pylons are spotted,
where you got to go.
You know where you got to go for those buildings.
Even this, TaeJa's actually looking around here to make sure there is nothing out on the map. No hidden structures, nothing that could just lose in the game instantly. The tech structure is going to be placed down inside the main base, and Zest is going to play a standardized robotics facility game here. So looking at getting the observers out to find out what his opponent's doing, looking to get to Colossus quite fast without any bumps in the roads like we've seen by going for the Twilight Council first.
For now, Nexus finishing up, so this is going to be a bit more of a normal game, which is nice to see, as Zest, you know, not really being slowed down in his tech of choice, the prime tech of choice that is pretty much a given now in this matchup. If you go for something like a more heavily focused Twilight Council play, down to charge, down to Archons, high Templars, etc., you're going to have a really, really difficult time against Terrans in the current metagame.
TaeJa's chosen Concussive Shells.
Ooh.
Rather than getting Stim or Combat Shields first, he's gone for Concussive Shells. It means he's going to be looking... Oh my god, an Immortal. It means he's going to be looking to catch any aggressive random units out in the middle of the map, which has actually been quite common from Zest. But Zest has chosen an Immortal. With going for an Immortal here, as mentioned before, it seemed like he was probably aiming towards the robotics bay quite fast, which is very common to get your Colossus out and play a normal game. Going for an Immortal here is aggressive, and I don't think he's going to spot this popping out. The scan should go just before the Immortal pops, and it does go, and TaeJa loses vision. That could just be an observer. He doesn't know, but it's an Immortal.
Yeah.
Zest is going to go for a big 2-base push. He's going to be adding on more units and more gateways. TaeJa has to find this.
Yes, he does. And for just focusing Chrono Boost into that robo facility here, Zest really trying to get those Immortals out super, super fast.
Oh, the Reaper.
Oh, he sees all the gateways.
He sees it all. He sees it all. The force field's not good enough. He spots all the gateways, and at this point, you pretty much know what's going on. And he immediately retreats back. He doesn't even bother trying to attempt. And at this point, TaeJa needs to build bunkers. And not just a single bunker, not 2. You're talking 3, 4 here. You must not die to this. He's going to try and catch a unit in the middle of the map, though.
That's a really nice start for him, actually. A really good start. Didn't have the high ground vision, was taken by surprise, slowing this down just a smidge here as that robo facility with the second Immortal now on the way across. A lot of sentries got warped in here to accommodate for the space control that he needs when he's going for this kind of play.
Yeah, TaeJa's been very calm right now. He's not rushing anything out. He's playing this cautiously. He knows this attack is coming. He spots it again in the middle of the map. 2 Immortals this time. And here come the 3 bunkers. If he gets to Stim, and it is 70 seconds away. So we're talking, 9:30 on the clock right now. If he can get up to that, then he's going to be in very good position. He's got units, going to catch some reinforcements here.
That's actually a big deal.
So smart from TaeJa.
Oh, all of those zealots and sentry going down. That's a big blow to him. He can't get away. He has concussive shells.
But he's weak at the front, though.
Yeah.
Remember that. He's got a lot of units out in the open.
Like, he has options, right? He can do whatever he wants at this point. And he knows also, TaeJa knows where this push is going to be coming from, because the Protoss would never actually push up the ramp here. So positions his bunkers to greet it from where the rocks are. He pushes forwards with this small poultry force, but I don't think this can get anything done as long as he repairs, right?
One bunker goes down slightly too fast there, but there's only 25 seconds left until Stim is ready.
Well, 2 sentries died as well during all of that. The Zealots at the back are actually going to hold on against this. Nice force field actually catching those against that, but...
Stim is only 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He could go with his SCVs, try to get rid of the mothership core. He doesn't want to allow that to get recalled, though. He must try to slaughter every one of those units. If he does, it's going to be his best chance to just instantly win this game.
Yeah, if he can stim and get that mothership core, that'd be fantastic. He's going to be protecting that very, very tenaciously, though, is Zest. And he's actually got himself in quite a tight bind here, but behind this mineral line, good force fields, time warp slows all of this down.
Very good there from Zest. Still has the recall available.
Supply blocked at this point as well, trying to reinforce forwards, but that's still a lot of bio.
Oh, he actually uses the time warp here. He's going to go for the fight.
And he actually loses the mothership core overall anyway. The Widow Mines have done huge amounts of damage to those Zealots to try and buffer for this. Those 2 Widow Mines, absolute heroes during that.
Coming in.
That's a lot of Zealots. He needs more bio here with all of this. One medevac's out. Another one's going to be coming out very soon as well, but he needs extra longevity with this.
Zest breaks this natural ground for TaeJa. There's no high ground vision. So smart there.
Oh, very, very well placed there by TaeJa. Zest has to be so careful about how he does this.
Likewise, TaeJa does too. This is very dangerous. There are 2 Widow Mines loaded behind this army.
Yeah, he has to actually separate reinforcements and then walk them in. He doesn't want them all clumped up because he has to go past these Widow Mines. And, tries to go for the force fields, lets those units filter through. But these 2 Immortals at the back, they're going uncontested right now.
Yeah, another Widow Mine in place. Combat shields down soon.
The supply blocks for TaeJa have really hurt him in this game.
Yeah.
Really hurt him, because Zest now has just been able to propel himself forwards with this. He is unsupply blocked now, but...
I'm not sure TaeJa can defend this.
Yeah, it's getting increasingly more difficult.
The Observers come in to get rid of the Widow Mines.
Oh, and that was really his one option to actually keep a lot of this back. As those 2 Immortals, one of them doesn't even die during this. The army of Zest is so powerful now, and during all of this, he has technically a little bit of economy on a second base where TaeJa doesn't.
He's going for the second Immortal, can't quite get to it again.
There's so many Zealots as well now. The Zealots are almost outnumbering the entirety of the bio. He's just bulldozing up this ramp. He doesn't care. Breaching this high ground now for Zest is brilliant.
And here come the SCVs. Last stand here for TaeJa.
TaeJa on the verge of defeat, trying to hold off desperately against this. The Immortals have done well. The majority of the Zealots are gone, but he lost so many SCVs trying to defend that.
And Zest does not... He's been interrupted with his economy here, so he can just continue to keep warping in units. He's building another Immortal at home. TaeJa's down a 39 supply. Zest is so close to finally being able to get that revenge game that he's wanted for a while here against TaeJa after that 3-0. And he's going to put TaeJa in a position where he has to face off against Pult.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we saw what happened last time at Red Bull just a week ago.
Yeah, this could be one of the earliest finishes for TaeJa in a tournament for a long time if he's not careful because of that result. But now Zest up on the high ground.
TaeJa's just gone. He's just left everything. He's gone for a drop on the other side of the map where he's not even looking to defend.
Yeah, this is just desperation now. He has to go for something, some kind of base trade.
Yeah.
Even the probes are coming off the line, because why on earth not at this point? Zest knows the kind of power position he's in here with this. And he has a lot of money as well.
It's like a base trade. It's like if he can maybe kill off all the structures and prevent somehow from Zest to build Stargate units, then he can float the command centers and structures that Zest cannot ever kill.
That's true. But all Zest has to do with the money he has now is maybe make a Nexus somewhere else or protects that, and he has the money.
He's catching all the probes.
That's all right. That's all right. That's not too bad. TaeJa trying to make the best of this game here with that Immortal going down. That's a nice start to try and keep this going.
And the Nexus has been built. So Zest is going to have to just sit on that Nexus.
Yeah.
And then try to build air units if we're going to see these structures floated around.
Yeah, this game could actually go on for quite a while longer here. As
TaeJa knew he couldn't beat the army, so he has to try something else. Look for a different avenue to try to find a victory here.
Yeah, I mean, with the command centers escaping as they are, he can't realistically leave his Nexus and go hunting down the command centers himself, because if he does lose that Nexus, that's pretty much everything. He needs that to be able to get a little bit more economy for the Stargate, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, can this be, if this choice here by TaeJa somehow turns around into a win, I'll absolutely be...
That's monumental. That's ridiculous, considering the position he was in before.
Yeah, TaeJa's mining to the bottom right, by the way. Or he's going to try to, at least.
Has energy for mules. There they go. So he's going to have a bit more income going here. Try and build up a little bit.
You know, he can trade off against these units without losing very much. Pick up and boost away at all times.
Yeah, he can.
There's only 4 Stalkers or so.
And mining in these 2 locations like this is actually... This could turn around for TaeJa. I mean, he doesn't have the most amazing, but
just a single Marine will make a big difference in this game. So if he starts to be able to build barracks up again and start to rebuild this army, while Zest is, you'd think, just hoping to make sure this Nexus doesn't die.
And he's going to go for barracks on this right-hand side as well. And I don't think those barracks are going to be spotted anytime soon with what Zest has available to him. This is actually crazy, because TaeJa could make this comeback a reality.
He must not lose Medivacs. That is the most important. Of course, then second's going to be these Marine and Marauders. Can't lose anything here.
And Fezra has a really good point, actually, there. Highlighting the fact that he has energy for sentries, so he could use Hallucination to try and scout around the map and see what's going on.
Yeah, and also just, like, building extra units in his army, which is going to tank more damage, so maybe the real ones can kill off a couple.
The economy is pretty even at this point. TaeJa is looking for opportunities with this army.
Takes the high grounds.
There isn't an observer with this army either, so technically this high ground is very difficult here for Zest to do anything about.
Look at Zest now, bottom right. He's going to actually find this, and I'm pretty sure at this point you go, oh no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, this is not good. He cannot be allowed to rebuild.
Yeah, it could be a disaster. Really could. Oh, very, very smart using the Colossus for the high ground vision. Mothership Core's out now though as well, so going to be able to use that at least.
Yeah. But we do see, you know, equally smartly here from Zest, 3 Zealots. Just go to the mineral line.
Yeah, yeah. That's nice. That's nice. He has to be careful about those barracks that he doesn't know about on the right-hand side. And this high ground breach denying the mining time? Uh-oh. There's not really huge amounts he can do about that unless he wants to sacrifice a bit of his army to deal with it. The base choice here of Zest overall could come back to bite him considering this position.
Well, 3 Zealots going to get into that mineral line, but of course there's the second one and to the top left. But there's like 3-4 Marines into the game now, more so being built.
Yeah.
TaeJa's going to be starting to build an army that can combat what Zest has.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. What a recovery that we're seeing here so far by TaeJa. It's not done just yet, of course, but...
I think we missed him losing an Immortal. Losing an Immortal with this. That's gone.
Uh-oh. That's so much fun. That's a huge deal.
If not 2 Immortals.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Losing those and only having gateway units against this
units
force?
now. TaeJa can make this work.
Oh my god.
TaeJa can make this work. He's clearing up the Zealots. He's still building Marines.
Yeah.
Very impressed with how this has turned up here. This is absolutely unbelievable from TaeJa. He's actually taken the supply lead now. He's still mining on these bases.
And there's not a whole lot Zest can do about this.
He's pinned, because if he moves out to stop the mining, then he loses what he has at home here.
This is amazing. This is actually amazing. Zest now just trying to get these gateways up and running, up and powered. But again, his economy keeps getting poked at, prodded at. Very, very difficult for him to really find a position.
Oh, TaeJa's going back to his whole army now. 16 Marines, 4 Marauders against just a handful of Stalker Sentry Zealots.
You can't do it. Zest, this is going to be difficult.
+1 attack coming in. There was a +1 armor being researched, but that got immediately cancelled out here by TaeJa by going for his +1 attack. So upgrades are not a factor either. He scans. He scans because he has energy to scan now on top of it and says, oh man, that's right. You know that game you wanted to win again?
Unbelievable. How does TaeJa do it? Right now, Zest is staring down the barrel of a gun, and that's TaeJa's gun, man. That's his Gauss rifle aiming right at the Protoss.
He's about to go in there and make this work.
How is he going to deal with it? He throws down a few force fields here. There's Hallucinate Colossus that isn't going to do anything.
Even if he trades off, he just rebuilds those Marines he's lost again.
He has the money.
So, I mean, Zest is getting a good economy on this one base as well and is trying to get up towards this robotics facility, trying to get up to some real units himself. It was very nice that he's able to actually squeeze out that Zealot there.
Trying to shut down a little bit of this, some of the mining
We
time.
see tech labs and reactors and now medivacs coming out. TaeJa's properly rebuilt over these 2 command centers.
Yeah, I mean, at this point here, TaeJa has a good wealth of options available to him here. He's getting extra Widow Mines in this army. Gateway units alone aren't going to be able to combat that in any way or shape or form. Pause.
I'm not sure what Zest has paused the game for a sec, so I'll just give him that moment. But at this point in this game, TaeJa he went in, said, okay, let me try. Okay, I can't finish the game, but I'm going to rebuild, then I will finish the game with so much more being added on in the production tab. We have Marine Marauder, Medivacs coming in, Widowmines coming in, and Zest, who, this was his game.
This was his game.
This was his game.
TaeJa with split-second decision-making is like, right, okay, can't deal with it, I'm going elsewhere. I am going elsewhere. I'm going to try and rip apart his infrastructure back at home. And, well, it's TaeJa, man. What do you do?
I can just imagine Zest saying, all right, let me, admin, this isn't fair. This was my game.
No!
I should have won this. And TaeJa, can't believe that this has been around. This is an absolutely incredible comeback. This is one of the craziest comebacks I've seen in a very, very long time. He was losing. He was about to die. Then he said, you know what? I'm going to take these 3 Medivacs across the other side of the map. I'm going to see what I can do and make work. And TaeJa's found a way back into this. And not many people like TaeJa can really do that.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, so just waiting for this pause to conclude. As TaeJa right now, got to be feeling so good about this with the decision-making that he utilizes here. I think he's just being informed as well as to why the pause is currently occurring. We can't actually talk too much about this now because
TaeJa's English actually really good now. But yeah, the winner of this series, once we finally decide which player it will be, Zest or TaeJa, will go up against Liquid Bunny, the player from Denmark who's here and beat Pult 2-0 in the first game of his tournament in the main part of this tournament. So that's going to be a great game to watch up here very shortly. But it looks like the game is going to be resumed. We can continue on to see whether TaeJa is going to make this comeback definite or not.
Yeah, getting back into this now as TaeJa, again, still has a lot of economy behind him, a lot of income behind him, a lot of infrastructure behind him now, rebuilt up and really good to go. Even breaking down these rocks so that he can reinforce from those 2 barracks on the right-hand side as quickly as possible. Because he just, if he senses the weakness to jump, he will look for it, he will get it, he will go. And he wants those units there as quickly as possible. This is very, very important.
Absolutely unbelievable. And Team Liquid in this tournament are on absolute craze here. They're playing so well with Bunny beating Pult. And for some of you who are in this crowd right now as well, we knew that we're waiting on the result for CJ Hero and Snood.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, the Liquid player was able to win. He just took down CJ Hero. Again. Twice in this tournament now. And Snooten makes it into group play here and finds himself in the group with the Intel Extreme Masters World Champion, the BlizzCon World Champion, SOS first, the Protoss recently on TCM looking to tear this one up, and of course Massa, the local boy too. So that's going to be a great group we'll play later on. But back into this.
I mean, already this tournament...
Look at the supply count. It's getting sharper and sharper now for TaeJa.
Yeah. TaeJa going for a little bit of an engagement here. Doesn't necessarily have to kind of sacrifice any of the units like on their own. He could have his whole army here, right, and be pushing forwards. But any Zealot he gets here, now that the base up to the top left has been spotted, I mean, he just keeps... He's like trying to siphon them off so that he can do a little bit of damage to Zest, but there's no room for him. He's pinced it in. He is trapped into this corner of the map. And this is a big army.
Is this where TaeJa's going to make it happen here?
The force fields are not doing what they want to do at all. This gateway force is just completely falling apart. Mothership core has gone down as well.
Unbelievable game from TaeJa. Absolutely incredible comeback. There's minimal units here, and Zest is looking at this as a loss now. How the hell can he stop this army?
All he has is basically sentries. There's one Colossus on the way from that robo facility, but that's now under siege. He's not even going to get the Colossus down. Zest here is being crushed by TaeJa, killing off the remaining gateway forces. Zest has to be absolutely defeated.
You can just see down the bottom, he probably can't even believe this has happened to him. This was his game.
It was his game to win. It was his game to move on to the winners, but it's not the case. The probes are off the line. TaeJa is making this work. I cannot believe what we are witnessing here at the start of day 2. It doesn't even matter if he loses anything here. GG! TaeJa takes the first series of the day, and oh my god, what a series it was.
Wow, that has to go down as one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in StarCraft in a very, very long time. Liquid TaeJa, unbelievable game. Takes down Zest 2-1, and he finds himself in the winner's game. It's a Liquid versus Liquid game. Bunny versus TaeJa next up on the main stage.
absolutely unbelievable here at day 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Plenty more awesome StarCraft to come.
Thank you very much, guys, over on the casting desk there. We're back on the analysis couch to break down what was a terrific match to open up things on day 2. Back here on the couch, Kevin, as a fellow Terran, you must be thrilled at that.
Well, 3 Terrans in the group. It's going to happen. We're going to see some Terrans move on. I felt like TaeJa's start was a little shaky there.
Okay.
In that first game, it seemed like didn't really have it all together. The second game went a little bit better, and then in that third game, I was right there with Apollo and Caleris. I was like, this is over.
I mean, put yourself in his shoes. As a player, are you mentally going, oh, God, what have I done? I'm not going to get out of this.
Yeah, the presence of mind that you need to recognize, like, this is a losing battle. I cannot continue to fight this head on. And then the decision to go into this extremely chaotic, unpredictable base trade that he was definitely ready for more than Zest was.
Yeah, Nathan came over at one point in the middle of the game and looked at the mini-map and just went, how? How did it get like that? It's just a mess. What's going on? Crazy game. Todd, your thoughts from a Protoss point of view? You're sitting there. I mean, again, put yourself in his position. Third map.
My thought.
Comfortable, and you think, I've got this game. This is mine, right?
Yeah, in that last game, definitely. I think he was probably very surprised in the end, Zest, that is, to see it went that way. But like going back to the first game already, a lot of interesting things were happening. Zest, who's been playing Blink almost every single game against every race on King Sejong Station, he goes into that, and he just had some tough games against Cure in GSL. He lost on that map. And now he chose to use the same build, but he did a lot better against a TaeJa who seemed to struggle with that style where you need to drop a lot and you go up to a lot of supply before you take a third base. So he wins that convincingly. I'm like, all right, he lost 0-3 last time. This time he's going to win clearly. No, TaeJa starts bringing it back in on merry-go-round, and then, as QXC said, he recognizes somehow that he's just not going to win the fight. If you can't beat your opponent's army, don't try to fight it. Just go for the base trade, and that's what he did. And interestingly enough, Hero just didn't do the same thing just now against Snoot. He couldn't beat Snoot's army, and instead of going for the base trade, he went for the fight, and he lost, and Snoot is the guy that moved on.
Absolutely. Snoot is actually into the round of 16, should mention that. Just before we get TaeJa in to interview him, what does this mean to the people that have said, TaeJa's just a foreign Korean. He just wins all the tournaments outside Korea. He can't compete with the GSL as best. He's just proved that, right?
I don't think these people deserve an answer, to be
I don't know.
Well, let's give them one anyway.
What StarCraft have they been watching that allows them to come to that conclusion?
I think I've seen many comments on Team Liquid threads and forums and Reddit and what have you that all say the same thing. 11 titles is great. You can't take that away from him, but he can't really say he's the best in the world unless he beats someone in Korea. Now, I've asked him this before. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He'll just go to a tournament and do the best he can. But I think beating Zest is a good marker in the sand for him, isn't it?
The only credence that I can give to those claims is perhaps TaeJa has not proven himself in Pro League and in GSL in terms of tournaments where you live in Korea and you play those. But time and time again, we see him crush top-tier Korean players. Shenzhen was the most recent best example of this, where he wins 4-3 against Solar.
3-0 against Zest.
3-0 Zest.
It's a different format as well. People have said that about Pult, and he at the Battlegrounds Detroit, he beat Trust, the only KSPA player there. So now, TaeJa, he not only beats Zest, I think he's going to be a favorite against almost anybody he plays. He might play Flash later on. That's something you might see
again, just before we get TaeJa in, quick thoughts from you both. Bunny 2-0 against Pult.
Nice.
Okay, I think that's all that needs to be said right now on that subject. Thank you very much, chaps. They're going to be back in a little while with more coverage on the way, of course. And right after the break, we'll have TaeJa on the couch to find out his views on beating Zest. Okay, welcome back to the couch. Our Magic TV people have done their tricks, and we've got TaeJa on the couch, Team Liquid's favourite summer sun. It's the summer, and it's still summer of TaeJa, so that's good. just talk to me about playing Zest. You said in the car this morning, TvT, bad. TvP, very good.
자 이제 방금 주성욱 선수랑 경기한 거에 대해서 설명 좀 해주세요.
뭐 그냥 제가 전체적으로 운이 좋았던 것 같아요. 네. 그래가지고 이게 된 것 같아요.
I think overall I was just lucky, and I was able to take the win. Which I no, I don't think
he
it was.
keeps telling me he's lucky. It has nothing to do with luck.
아, 사실 윤영수 선수도 저랑 이제 한 달 동안 계속 같이 대회도 가고 이러면서 얘기 많이 들었는데 항상 이제 운은 하고 이랬는데 솔직한 심정을 말씀해 주시죠. So what I'm asking him is, like I've been with you for almost past month, you know, going to WCS and all these other events. I've been doing these interviews with you all the time, and you've always said luck or somebody else made a mistake. So I asked, you know, give me something real, give me something good.
Okay.
진짜로 이번 경기는 진짜 운이 좋아서 이긴 것 같아요. 진짜로 그런 것 같아요.
I only know a little bit of Korean, and I'm pretty sure you just said the same thing.
Yeah, 운 means luck.
Yeah.
I wanna like fail fish in my face right now.
Okay, I don't think we're going to get much more out of you from that point of view. So, you play these Kesper players, you play these great players from GSL, and you beat them. What does that mean to you? Do you think like that makes me as good as them?
그냥 프로토스 중에 한 명을 꺾은 거라 생각해가지고 별로 다른 의미는 없는 것 같아요.
토스전이 제일 자신 있어서.
네.
I'm very confident in the TVP. That's actually my favorite matchup, and to me, this victory just feels like I've beaten another Protoss.
Really? Okay.
There's a little smack talk.
Yeah, a little smackdown for Zest there. Okay. The rest of the group is all Terrans, which, when you looked at the group yesterday, I know you said to me in the car, but I want you to tell people at home right now. What did you think?
GG.
He said to me in the car, when I said to him this morning, when you played Polt last weekend, you let him win that one, right? And he was like, no, I suck TvT. That's what you said to me, right?
Yeah.
Is it still that bad for you?
Yeah.
So how do you move out of this group? Because you're going to have to beat a Terran now. You have to beat Bunny, teammate.
TvT also good for luck.
Okay. We're back
운이
to luck.
좋아야 이길 수 있다고.
운이 좋아할 수 있다.
네.
그래서 최성훈 선수가 운이 좋아서 우승을 했다.
그런 건 아닌데. 운이 좀
Well,
필요하다.
TVT, it's a lot of rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
It's very heavily dependent on the build itself and everything. So I added a little bit. So you're telling me Polt got lucky in Detroit? And he's like, well, not entirely, but.
Yeah. Okay. So Bunny's next. You have to play Bunny now. So that's a team kill. You don't care, right?
I don't care.
Good.
That's his lineup all the time. I don't care.
And what about all these titles that you've won? You've won so many now, and you're going to retire at the end of the year, right? So you just want to win every single one until the end of the year? BlizzCon?
Yeah.
BlizzCon as well? Okay. Finally get some good money? Get some
이제
good money?
돈 은퇴하기 전에 상금이랑 해서 돈 좀
아.
챙기고 그리고
네.
로그아웃 하시는.
I don't know if he remembers. You said to me at the start of the year, I keep winning tournaments, and they only have low money. I want to win big money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's BlizzCon, right?
BlizzCon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We were going to give $10,000 to the winner for his. Is that all right? Would you like us to do that?
Yeah, $10,000.
Yeah. Is it okay?
It's
만불.
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's okay.
Big
It's-
money.
You want big money. I know you want big money, but $10,000 is still good money. Okay. Good.
Well,
All
he
right.
is known as the man of $10,000 tournaments.
Indeed, yes. But we'll hopefully change that at some point. Is there anyone else in the tournament that you look at? Because it's such a big tournament with big players. Other than Terrans, is there anyone else that scares you? Maybe Flash, maybe a little bit?
Well, he's also Terran.
Yeah.
You said not only.
Yeah, but not only the but anyone else. Is there anyone in there that scares you that you think, oh, really don't want to play them until the final?
Terran.
Just Terrans?
Just Terran.
Okay, all right. So we'll see how you get on because it's a tough group. And Bunny's next. So good luck against your teammate. Thank you very much for joining us on the couch. That is it from the front stage here. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, though, that winners bracket game is going to be on the main stage here in Toronto. Don't go too far away. It's Bunny versus TaeJa coming up next.